What's up? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I have some plant chores to take care of and I have a little haul for you all, so please keep watching.
I was like glacier, pretty like great chasing. I've become complacent. Nocturnal operations, my God, it feels amazing.
Okay, first we're gonna start with some things that I found at Goodwill. So today I ran to Goodwill to go try to find some more of my clear vases that I normally use to, pot my plants in. Sometimes it's a little easier to use them if, I don't want to worry about what water reservoir I'm going to use. And I really love having them, accessible to me so that I can plant my plants. And I also use them a lot to do water propagation. So let me show you some of the things that I found at the Goodwill. I went to 2 locations. And one of the locations, the prices have gone up, okay? I don't know what that's about, but I haven't been in a long time. So this is one of the first items that I picked up. It's just a clear vase. I got it for $3.99, and I really went in there just to get some tall ones because some of the ones that I have that are taller that I like to use when I'm water propagating some of my bigger plants broke or they're being used right now. So here's one of the taller ones that I found. And this is a good one right here. Look how tall that is. So I'm going to be planting up one of my water props in here, and I don't know if I'm going to put it in leca or soil, but do y'all see the price? I got this for $4.99. This is exactly what I was going in there looking for. Normally I don't pay that much for the clear vases that are this size, but I went ahead and got it because I needed it, and I plan on using it today on some of the plants that I need to pot up. And the last one that I found at Goodwill was this clear vase right here. This is not normally the style that I go for, but I was kind of desperate and I needed something that was tall. Okay, I got this one for $2.99, and that's more reasonable for what this is. I found this tall one at the, something just rolled on my leg. It scared the hell out of me. So I found this one at the first location I went to, and I grabbed it because I was really happy to find something I was looking for. And I found these 2 at the second location that I went to. And this location that I went to normally has them, but it was a little further out. So when I only found this one, I was like, okay, we're gonna have to make a trip because I wanted more than one and there was only one. So I ended up finding 3. I might not use this one today, but I always like to have these, even if I don't use this size to, pot up some of my plants because it's so short. I like to use it as a riser in my XO if I need it, if I need something to sit up a little higher, for example. I would just sit a plant on here like this in the XO if I need it to be a little closer to the light, or if another plant is blocking it. I like to have these in my collection. So those are the clear vases. Let me show you one more thing that I found at Goodwill that's not plant related, but I couldn't believe I found this at Goodwill. Hold on, let me get her situated. Hold on, let me fold her up. So it has a hood on it, which is not something I normally look for. Let me get her all the way together, okay? I do love these chaps, kind of throwback vintage style jackets. And even if it's not my size, if I find one, I get it. I don't even care. And it looks like it's in a really good condition. So let me get her all together and cute for you guys. So look at her. This is so dope. I love this so much. And the sleeve has this little logo on it on the elbow. Let me show you. I love this. I have a navy blue one, and it's really dark with that like hunter green, and I really love it. And it's a really big size. It was only, let me see, $13.99. And normally if I go on Goodwill, I'm going in there on the days that they, you know, have a sale or something, but I just needed what I needed, so I went ahead and went in there, and this is such a steal. Let me put it on for y'all. I know it's hot, and right now in Texas we're having some really bad heat. See, this is how I like to wear her. I love this so much. And just pull up my sleeves a little bit. You know, I might not be able to wear it no time soon because it is so hot, but I love this. And let me know in the comments if you remember seeing these jackets growing up. This is a size large. So my other one that I have is like an extra large. And I think both of them are men's sizes, but this was in the women's section. I told myself, do not go look at clothes. Don't go look at no clothes. And I just like, I'm gonna go look and see what they got. See if they have any windbreakers or any, you know, like nice little throwback stuff. And I found this just sitting there. And I was like, I don't care what size it is, because you know what? I'm going to wear it. I think this is so dope. Let me know what you think, because I really love this. Look at me. Okay, I'm taking it back. That is the last thing that I picked up at the Goodwill. So, yeah. Okay, next, I went to Lowe's, all right? I was going in there looking for some more insecticidal soap because, you know, the bugs are out. It's that time of the year, and my plants are fighting for their life, you know what I mean? So I went to Lowe's, and I wasn't really planning on getting any plants. Like I said, I needed to go in there for some insecticidal soap. Normally I have like 2 to 3 bottles. I put one all over my home. I have one outside, I have one in this area, and I have one upstairs near my XO where I have a lot of other plants on my shelf and everything. So I like to be stocked up, and I realized like 2 of my 3 bottles are empty, and I don't play that. So let me show you what I picked up. First, I got some Captain Jack's Dead Bug. Normally I get the Captain Jack's insecticidal soap, but they didn't have any, and I'm not surprised because Captain Jack's is gonna come through. Dead Bug works just as well as the insecticidal soap, so I grabbed it because I need it, but it's a little bit more pricey than the insecticidal soap. So I was in there talking to this guy to stop me that works there, and he's like, you need something? I was like telling him about another problem I had, but I was like, I can't find any more of the Captain Jack's insecticidal soap. Do y'all have some more? Like, what's up? So he was like, no, but he was like, he said, here goes some. I was like, what is this? I've never used this before, this Garden Safe brand, but I mean, I need some insecticidal soap, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a try. And I noticed a lot of my plants outside are like getting, I don't know, it's something crazy going on outside in my home, and I'm trying to figure it out, but I definitely need another bottle of this. So I only got one, and hopefully maybe later this week I can run by Home Depot and see if they have some, because I know they both carry it. But you know, I wasn't gonna go to 2 stores today because I already went to two Goodwills, and you know, today it was super hot in Houston. I think we was like almost at like 100 degrees, and I was over it. I was sweating, okay, real bad. So this is the other item that I picked up. And lastly, I've never used this, Garden Tech 7 Insect Killer. So I have noticed outside in one of these trees that I did not plant, and it just started growing out of nowhere in my backyard. And I'm just gonna cut it down, and then, you know, I kind of waited a little bit, and I went to go look at this tree, and it's covered in some kind of a web. Like the whole tree has a web on it. And I noticed there's some like caterpillars or some kind of bug, but it's a lot of them. It's a lot. So I asked the guy, do you know what that is? And do you have something you can recommend? Because, you know, it's up kind of high, and I can't use something like this on a tree. And he recommended this. So hopefully this is gonna take them out. So I'm gonna go out there tomorrow and hook this up to the water hose and try to spray the tree. Wish me luck. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try, and if it's good, it says it lasts for 3 months. It says kills on contact. So if this is, and it also says here is it won't harm people and pets, and they may re-enter the treated area after spray dries. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a try. I mean, I was gonna cut it down anyway, but I'm not dragging all of those branches and stuff through my yard with all of them bugs on it. Like, it's a lot. I was over there cutting down some branches and stuff, and they just started kind of spreading out. I'm like, wait, just stay right here. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back, and I got something for y'all, because I have noticed a little bit of them on my patio. And if you don't know, I have some house plants that I really love and have grown from babies that are really big that I cannot see getting infested by anything. And I'm already trying to fight off other bugs at this time, with it being summer and everybody waking up. So wish me luck. Feel like every year I learn something new and I have to experience something different. And yeah, this is just something I'm gonna have to figure out how to, knock out. Also, I recently started using some mosquito bites to get rid of some fungus gnats I've been noticing in the house. They're kind of bad, okay? I think it's because I have a lot more plants in this area that have soil, because all of my plants behind me have moss poles. I normally keep them pretty moist, not always, but for the most part, I keep them pretty moist. And I have never really had a big problem with fungus gnats, but I think it's because I have a lot more plants in this area that are in, like, I don't know. They're not really in soil. They're in a chunky aeroid mix, but I think my Monstera esqueletos, when I repotted them, maybe I didn't get enough of that cocoa peat off of their roots, because, I had just received them and did not want to send them into too much shock. I just kind of shook off what I could, but maybe I should have did a little bit of a better job and tried to remove all of that cocoa peat, because I think that is what's causing the fungus gnats, to be honest with you. But I have been treating the plants that I think are infested and the ones that I think are not. And the mosquito bits have been doing a really good job. I even put them in some of my plants outside to keep down the mosquitoes. So I really like that product. I've heard about it before. I've never ever had a reason to try it, and look at me now. Here I am, trying out the mosquito bites, and it must be good, because when I went to Home Depot, it was sold out. It was sold out at Lowe, so I ended up having to order some off of Amazon. So if you have any experience using mosquito bits, bites, whatever you call it, in your home for gnats, for fungus gnats, please let me know. I would love to hear your experience using that product, and let me show you the next thing that I found at Lowe's today. This is the next item that I got at Lowe's. I said I was not going to get any plants. I'm going to have some kind of self-control. But look at this. Have you ever seen this plant before? It's called a silver streak pothos. A silver streak pothos. And I've never seen this before. So I don't know if it vines like a normal pothos. It kind of looks like it does. And it came in one of these, this thing is full of water. Lord have mercy. I'm going to have to maybe see if I can dump some of it out, because this thing is heavy. But I do want to put this outside on my patio. I have a spot that she will do very well in, get some sun, but mostly shade. And this is so pretty. Look at I don't know if the color is coming through, but the leaves are kind of like a bluish hue, like a Cebu blue. That's the kind of color I'm getting from this. I'm going to have to wipe down these leaves, because they have a lot of water spots on them from being watered at the nursery, but it's cool. I haven't taken it out of this concoction of a water pot. I did pay, this thing was $20, but I mean, I've never had one before, and it looked very interesting to me, so I went ahead and picked her up, and I hope she enjoys my home. I wonder if this plant, as it gets more mature, does it finish straight or anything like that. But I think it's kind of dope that it came in this self-watering water pot because she will be outside. She probably gonna need it. Do you have this plant? Have you ever seen it? Do you know anything about it? We're about to find out. Okay, let me show you the next thing I got. The last plant that I picked up at Lowe's is this, it says it's an Adansonii. I love the Adansonii with the wide leaves. This is so pretty. Can you see that? Look at them juicy leaves. So beautiful. I love her. I always see this plant when I go into Lowe's, but I'm like, I'm not fooling with no Adansonii. I'm not. But I was like, let me just get one, put it on a moss pole and sit it outside and see how it grows on a moss pole on my patio. So I'm going to do that for her. I'm not going to do that today in this video, but I will be repotting her and putting her on a moss pole. She's very beautiful. Like, these leaves are kind of big. I really like that. This is also a Costa Farms plant. And so let me tell you how I ended up getting this. So I put it in my cart and I was like, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it. Well, I had just sat it in my cart and I was getting ready to go inside to go try to find the insecticidal soap. And one of the employees walked up to me and he was like, are you going to buy that plant? I didn't say anything. I was just looking at him like kind of confused. And he was like, let me mark that down for you. I was like, okay. I was like, mark it down like what? He was like, oh, when you get up there, it's going to be 50% off. And I think he marked it down because of this. And what's crazy is I almost yanked this sucker off before I put it in my cart. And he just was like, bloop. Look at that. So I got it for $9.99 or $9.98, and it's very beautiful. I think it's extremely dry. That's probably why this leaf is yellowing on it. But look at her. She's ready to climb. She already has one of her leaves jumping out. And, you know, maybe it's not just the yellow leaf that made him mark it down. Maybe they're just trying to get rid of these and get them out the store to kind of stock up on some more inventory that they want to put out. So I don't know. It was so random, but that really, like, you know, of course it sold me because I brought it home. But I was like, that is so dope. I ain't never had no employee walk up to me and just mark down a plant that was in my cart because I was thinking about buying it. So here she is. I mean, let me know what you think. Do you have an Adansonii, and where did you get your Adansonii? And is it growing well for you? Because every time I've tried to grow this plant, I'm never successful, like not long term anyway. I mean, you know, I think this is a plant that requires a lot of water. So I'm really surprised to see that it only has one yellow leaf, and this soil is really dried out, and she's very root bound. She has roots poking out the top and everything. So I think she's doing pretty well. So we're going to see how she likes it. And she will be outside if I didn't already mention that. And I'm going to moss her up. I was going to put her in leca, but I think I'm just going to put her in like an aeroid soil mix and just let her thug it out outside and see how she likes it, because it is really hot. And hopefully I can keep her watered. I don't think I'm going to end up putting her back in this self-watering pot because I can see she really needs to be up-potted. I mean, when the roots are, I don't know if you can see that, but the roots are really coming out the top of the pot. So I know she is good and root bound and needs to be repotted. I'm not even going to play with her in this little 6-inch pot. So that's her. So I'm just adding to my Monstera family, which is getting really big. I don't know if you can see my Esqueleto over here. I had to put her on a moss pole the other day because her and her sister are starting to, you know, they're trying to grow up something. They're leaning. One of them, I had like a garden stake in there and just kind of zip tied it just temporarily so that it could feel supported and continue to grow big. But one of them started growing smaller leaves because it didn't have a moss pole. So I rigged them both up, and hopefully they like it. But this one right here, it's gonna need let me move her out the way. It's gonna need another moss pole. This sucker is becoming a monster. And I can't believe I was about to get a third one because this thing is getting really big. I have some leaves at the bottom that need to be trimmed off, so maybe that'll happen for her next. This one did not want to go on the moss pole. It was the stem is like this, but you know, it's my fault. So hopefully it'll straighten out a little bit more and I can kind of secure her to the moss pole a little bit better. But look at her over here with these big old leaves with her new little moss pole. All right, so let me go ahead and grab the plants that I need to repot today and get into the next part of the video. Okay, these are the 3 plants that I'm gonna be repotting today, and I just wanna quickly show them to you because I'm probably gonna just zoom through repotting them because they will be going in leca 9 times out of 10. So these are cuttings from one of my baby monsteras, my Repot tetrasperma. I think that is the correct name for this plant. But this plant grows so quick for me, almost grows like a weed, and I just really love it. I mean, this plant really just keeps on giving. I just recently put these cuttings into this water reservoir, and in no time, this plant has pumped out all of these roots. Yes, the water is murky because a lot of times when I start a water propagation, I just sit it in there and just let it do its thing. I just top it off with some clean water, and sometimes I add water that might have a little bit of nutrients from me watering my actual other plants. So it might get a little nutrients here and there, but it's very little. It's a diluted amount because like I say, I will just top it right back on off. But this is how it's doing. I have one outside and I have another one upstairs that recently got a nice little bath in some neem oil and some Dawn dish soap and some warm water because her leaves were looking a little dusty, and she looks so good right now. So I got these cuttings from that plant, and in no time this plant started rooting for me. So I like to go ahead and put it in another situation. I want to pot it up in some leca with a moss pole. The other baby monsteras that I have that are like this are on moss poles, and it's one of those plants that just attach so well to the moss pole. I mean, I don't even have to keep the moss pole wet. It's just like this plant is gonna climb. If you give it something to climb on, it's just gonna climb. It's gonna do its thing. It's so no fuss. If I underwater this plant when it's in leca, it doesn't ever just start dropping leaves like crazy. It's really, really good. It's just like, I don't know, like I said, it's no fuss. It sustains itself. I have lost a few leaves on this plant since I put it in water because I did have it in a very low light location, but I kind of didn't even expect it to really start popping off so fast. So we're gonna pot her up. Let's get this out of here. Next, I have my philodendron atapapawensi. This plant is growing like crazy. I took a cutting from one of my bigger plants that just got too tall. And instead of extending the moss pole on the plant, I just went ahead and clipped it because I noticed that the leaves were coming small anyway. And I think it's because that it really needed an extension, a moss pole extension, and I just wasn't really in the mood to do that at the time. But look at these leaves. They're so beautiful. I love this plant so much. I love these long leaves on this plant. Hopefully you can see them. This plant gives off a lot of this, I don't know if you can see that, this sticky stuff. I can't think of the name of it right now, but if you have a philodendron, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's kind of started shooting out some more leaves. I want to say it had this small leaf before I chopped it. And then it just started kind of doing its thing, giving me more and more leaves. Even though they're tiny, this one's pretty new, but it's so cute. And I love the color of the back of these leaves. Look at that purple. That is so beautiful. Hopefully You can see it, and not my face right now, but I love this plant. And I don't know, it just is crazy. I've always wanted it, and I picked this up at one of these it's actually a plant shop. It wasn't like a nursery and outdoor place. And ever since I brought her home, she's been really doing her thing and just growing crazy. The other piece of this plant, I have it in a chunky soil mix, and I was thinking of trying to grow it in some leca to see how it would like. The leaves are even dusty. I put this up on a tall shelf somewhere, and I'm pretty shocked to see that it's growing this well. And I think she's ready. She's ready to go ahead and be moved over. And let me show you her roots. And this is one of the plants that I was saying I want to put it in something taller, because the stems that she have are so tall. And I probably should have cut off more of the bottom of the stem. Let me show you. But I kept a lot of it on there just in case if it started rotting off in the water. I wanted to have some room to play with in case I had to cut it. And I didn't want to cut it too close to the aerial nose where all the roots are growing. So I don't know if that's something I will try to do when I repot it, is maybe cut off some of the bottom of the stem. But like I say, I get nervous trying to cut the stem too close to the aerial nose when I have a propagation, because I don't want it to rot. So this is the other plant I'm going to go ahead and repot today in this video. My philodendron Atapapawensi. So let me slide her over here. This girl is wild. She is so crazy. Man, I am struggling with my sinuses. I am really struggling. But anyway, and this is the next plant. This is the next plant. I just cut this the other day, my philodendron mexicanum. And I think it's struggling in this bucket of water. I cut this plant after so when I originally cut this plant up, I went ahead and stuck it right in water. And then I realized I wanted to, cut it into a few more pieces. And I accidentally left it overnight and it wasn't in water. So these are the consequences of my own actions. This thing was like, what are you doing? And it had a new leaf coming out when I cut it. I mean, it was all tight, it was still in the petiole or whatever, but it started opening up since I cut it. It's been sitting here in water, and I think I'm really playing games and risking losing these cuttings with this plant just because I'm kind of tripping, but whatever. I mean, my philodendron mexicanum is so big. It is so big, and it's already in 2 pieces growing. So I hate to say this, but if something happens to these cuttings, I know I have so much more of this plant. I don't even know what I'm going to do once these cuttings start rooting, because I think I'm going to go ahead and put them in leca. And the big mama plant is, she's growing in soil. When I got her, it was a plant that I really wanted, and I was too scared to take her out of the soil and like transfer her over to leca. So maybe I can go ahead and start this one in leca like I want and see. I'm pretty sure this plant is going to get as big as the other one. It just needs a little bit of time, but it's a top cutting. So here is her top. And let me show you. She has some good aerial roots. So that's why I want to go ahead and just stick her in leca instead of waiting for her to root in water. I think she's going to be all right. Here's one piece. Like, it had like a really big leaf on it, but it was going out anyway. And I was like, let me cut this plant up, because when I seen this leaf going out, I was like, let me just go ahead and get my cutting now and see if I can start another plant just in case. So this did have a leaf on it, and I'm pretty sure that with these 4 nodes that it has. I'm gonna put 2 of them underwater, but I'm sure it's gonna root just fine once I get it potted up. It doesn't have as many good aerial roots as the other pieces that I have, but I'm just gonna throw them in there together and just see what it does. Ooh, try not to break the aerial roots. So here's another piece that I just cut last minute. And this piece seems like it's struggling the most from when I accidentally left it sitting out of water all night. And here are the aerial roots that it has. And these look pretty good to me. I think these will root up just fine. And, you know, I wish this plant the best. And I'm actually going to put this plant in one of the new clear vases that I bought as well. Yes, it is already in a tall clear vase, but I think that if I fill this up with leca in this plant, that it's going to be too much water at one time. It's not that established, so I want to put it in something. I'm probably going to put it in a smaller, see how it's more slim? So the water reservoir won't be too much for this plant with it not having any roots at all. I want it to develop roots. I don't want it to completely rot away. So I'm going to put her in this one. So I'm going to take the clear vases that I picked up at Goodwill today, and I'm going to go wash them down real good, because ain't no telling how long they've been sitting in there, and they probably have dust in there and who knows what. But I'm just going to make sure it's clean. Let's see some junk on here. I'm just going to make sure it's clean so I can put my plants in here. And what I'm probably going to do with all 3 of these plants is I'm going to add a little bit of the mosquito bits to the bottom with the water reservoir so that I can continue to eliminate any type of infestation going on with these gnats. So I have to say that none of my plants in leca have ever really had gnats. I think it has to be these plants in here with some of this cocoa peat in the soil. But anyway, I'm just gonna do it as a precaution, even though I've never had a problem with gnats with my leca, and that's why I've always chose to have my plants in lecas, because it was so easy and I didn't have any problems with any bugs. But I think from now on going forward, when I do get a plant from a nursery that has like a real, like 100% cocoa peat mix in it, I'm going to completely remove it from the plant. I mean, and just let the plant, I mean, the plant is already going to have to acclimate. It's already going to be going into some type of little shock coming from a nursery into like more of a controlled indoor environment. So I just need to kind of suck it up and just do what I have to do. And I know you gotta, you know, do the best you can for each situation with each plant, because all plants are not the same. But that cocoa peat cannot come back up in here, not from no nursery, because you don't know what's in it, and it's no reason to risk like having an outbreak of gnats. I've had to get a lot of different things in here, to not just the mosquito bits, but I have bought like a little gnat catcher, it's really cool. I'll try to add a little clip of it. I found it on Amazon. It's one of those insect catchers, like it has like a little fan that's in reverse. It sucks the gnats in, and they stick to some sticky stuff at the bottom of this device, and I love it. It ain't no chemical, no nothing. The only thing is you have to have it plugged in. So that's that. So I'll be right back and show you how I'm going to repot these few plants into leca. I've cleaned out all of the containers for the plants, and I'm going to go ahead and repot them. And since I'm going to be using leca, I'm just going to go ahead and play some nice music so I'm not tearing up y'all's ears. So enjoy. Thank you for joining me in today's video, and I'll see you next time.